Good morning, good morning. I sincerely hope that this works. I just printed these out. And I'm getting ready to color. I have not done a live color along in a super duper long time. So once you're here, if you could say hello, that would be amazing. And let's see, I'm gonna start inviting people. If you could invite people and share, that would be awesome. And you can hear me typing. I'm just typing in to invite people. There's Faith. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you? You ready to get your color on, girl? Ready to do this? I'm here with bells on. How much coffee have you had though? So I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to get here just so that we can show them what's going on. I'm getting dinner in the crock pot. Ooh, yum. What's for dinner? All right. We need to invite people. We need people to be here. All right, let's see. 2 coffee. Ooh, cheeseburger soup. Yum. Okay, so I just shared the video on my timeline. If you would share too, that would be amazing. Let's see if I can. There we go. I can invite people this way. Hooray. Should invite Annie, huh? Marianne, Elaine. All right. Oh, Leah's here. Good morning, Leah. Hello, sweetheart. How are you? Should turn this so that it's right there. Who else is here? Faith and Leah. Oh, Rihanna's here. Good morning, Rihanna. How are you? Is it Rihanna or is it Rihanna? Hello, hello. So I have a delay on my computer compared to what I have on my phone. So I'm just kind of, trying to deal with that, okay? So like if I 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, I have a really, really big delay on my computer. That's crazy. Really big delay. Rihanna. So I was saying it properly. Hooray! Okay, well, let's get started and people can watch the replay if they want to watch the replay. So, what I did for you guys is I printed these out in a couple of different ways. I know some people were asking about the opacity and how I printed them with the opacity. So this is just black. This is 100% opacity. So this is how you will get the image. It's 100% opacity, so that means brilliant black lines, okay? I switched the opacity to 50% on this one. And I know these are going to be sideways for you, but I switched the opacity to 50% on this one. So see how it turns it kind of gray? Basically, it's 50% as vibrant as this one. So it's gray, it's 50%. That's how that goes. Let me stand up so I can show you the difference. So that one's 100, that one's 50. This one is 25. Okay, so 25, see how it's lighter still? Black, gray, and then like a really light washed out gray. Okay, this is how we start to get into the realm of coloring with no lines. The lighter you do this, the more of a no lines technique that you get. So this is that nice vibrant black outline. This is 50%, this is 25%. I went one step lighter, and this is actually 20%. So I don't know if I can get them all in the frame here. There we go. So 100%, 50%, 25%, and 20%. You see how this starts to get really, really light. I prefer like the lighter, the better for me. And but I wanted to show you sometimes you can go too light and make it really, really hard on your eyes. So after the 25%, which this is the same as that. I accidentally printed it twice. This is 20. This is 15. So see how it's getting light? You stick on 100, yeah. This is 15. And this is 13. Okay, so I generally like to color really, really light like this. Into the 10 to 15% realm is what I like to do as far as my no lines technique. So I'll color whichever one you guys want me to color today. What would you guys like? Faith, Rihanna, Leah, what would you guys prefer that I color today? How light do you want me to go? Or how dark do you want me to go? Black. You want me to do the full on black one? We can do that. I kind of cut off her feet a little bit, but that's okay. I didn't change the margins on my page, so you can't even see any of the other ones. 50. Is this dark enough, Faith? Can you see that? Because this is black and this is 50. So we can go 50. Does that work? 50 would be okay? All right, let's do that. And apparently, I have a lot more Alice's to color. All right. So I'm going to have you guys help me out with some of the color choices and stuff on this. I'm going to try to stay in the screen. So if I happen to deviate from the screen, just let me know. And this is about as good as I can get with the lighting. So I hope that lighting is okay. I'm going to pull out my handy dandy, where's my E11, skin blend, okay? So my skin blend is a pretty standard skin blend, and I generally use this as my skin blend, okay? My EO4 is getting kind of sticky, and I don't have time to fill it right now. I just know from the last image I colored that it was getting kind of sticky. So I'm gonna actually replace that with the RV95. They're actually very similar in color. So I'm gonna take that EO4 out, but I'm gonna show you the difference in them. So if you look at the nib, they're really not too much different. This is the EO4, this is the RV95. They're really not super duper different. And I'm gonna grab a piece of paper over here and show you guys. So the EO4 is like that, and the RV95. So they're actually really similar in color, but the RV95 is a tad more pink, and the EO4 is a tad more brown. So we're just gonna go with a little bit of a pinky purple for the shadow, okay? So that's what we're gonna do with that. So, I also always have handy my colorless blender, and my colorless blender is kind of like my eraser. So that I always have that handy. Sorry for the loud ding. That's my mother trying to text me. Okay, so I have two different nibs on my markers. This is like a bullet nib. These are the new, well, not new anymore, but they're the fine point bullet nibs from Copic, and then these are the traditional brush nibs. So I use both, but I tend to use the brush nib way more. So I'm gonna start with my E000. Let's see if I can put that in a place so you guys can see it. E000, there we go. And I'm gonna do one whole, like all the way over her skin. The reason I do this is to kind of wet my paper, and I'm working on Catherine Pooler paper. I just really, really, really like the amount of ink that this paper, I hate to say absorbs, but that's essentially what it is. It kind of absorbs the ink and the pigment, but it keeps it wet. It almost repels it for a little while so that I can continue to blend my colors. So I really, really enjoy this paper, and it's very inexpensive. I'm impressed how inexpensive it is. And you can just go to Catherine Pooler's website to get it. I also wanted to share with you guys a super awesome thing. If you have not purchased your bundle of these images yet, the 3 images, you can still purchase them. Yeah, it's another Copic you totally need. You can still purchase them at the discounted rate because Annie has left that up for us. Annie has left that discounted rate up for us for after the coloring video. So I now have my RV95, and I'm gonna look at this and try to just put RV95 where the deepest shadows would be, okay? So I know her nose is going to leave a shadow. Now hopefully you guys can see. Like I said, the delay is so bad on my computer that I don't know, I can't look at what I'm coloring. So hopefully you guys can see. I know that her hair is going to leave a shadow on her face. And I know that the arm of the cat is going to leave a shadow on her forehead here. I also noticed that I forgot this little section of her skin right here. There we go. So I know again that the arm of the cat's going to leave a shadow here. Okay. And then I know that behind her ear is going to be a shadow. Where her ear folds over, we'll have a shadow. And I'm not just outlining. I know her earring's going to leave a shadow. I'm not just like outlining where, you know, the lines are, because that kind of takes away from the whole thing to me. But I'm outlining where I think the shadows would fall. And I'm pretty good about cast shadows. I'm not so great about light source shadows. So, just, you know, use that for what it's worth, I guess. Okay. And don't be overly worried about this stage, because you can always go in and do extra layers to kind of tone things down, or you know, pull up shadows and make them brighter. I can hear my clock ticking. Maybe I need to be doing like Captain Hook or something. The TikTok croc. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm coloring. I like the RV95, another Copic I need. Are you guys being like super duper quiet for a reason? Or am I just not seeing messages? Trudy, hi Trudy, how are you? Good morning. At least it's morning here still. I'm in Idaho, guys, so and I apologize too if my big fat head gets in the way. I tend to color super close to my picture. So whatever I'm coloring really gets like a hug from me because I tend to color super close. All right, so see how I didn't really outline everything, but I did outline some. It's early evening here in the UK. Aw, hooray. Is it freezing there? Where are you at in the UK? I just sent, I'm moving on to E11. I just sent Margarita Foster my temperature, and it is -4 Celsius here. Which apparently is cold for all of us. I'm taking my E11 now, and I'm just kind of expanding on some of these shadows. I am, really just kind of softening the lines where that dark is and extending that shadow out just a little bit more. I don't want to extend it out too much or she's going to look like she has a sunburn, which maybe she does after spending time in Wonderland. We all tend to get sunburns on vacation, right? This was essentially a vacation for her, wasn't it? Or just a bad dream. Whatever. I just adore these images. I think they're so cute. Alice in Wonderland can be done so many different times, and I will still be a sucker for all of them. I just love them. Also, notice how I rotate my paper like a lot. I'm in Dorset, right to the south coast. Hubby says it's about 4 degrees here now. So you're warmer than me. I turn my paper a lot. It's easier on your wrist to rotate your paper than it is to rotate your hand. So I always just rotate my paper to get it to a spot that I want, that's comfortable for me to color. You guys also notice I take both caps off of my Copic markers. That's to equalize the pressure inside the barrel of the marker, and it helps so that the flow is more even out of the nib of the marker so that I don't get those big blotches or big drips or anything like that. As your marker dries out some, you really don't have to remove both caps, but I still tend to remove both caps. I prefer it that way. It just gives me more control. Maybe it's all in my head, but 64 in Alabama. Woo, woo. That's Fahrenheit, though. We were talking Celsius, Faith. I wonder what the conversion is. I can't do that math in my head right now. I can't color and math all on a Sunday morning. That's just too much. Where's Sean? He's supposed to be here. Speaking of Sunday morning. That's it. I'm gonna drive to LA and beat him up. Tell him he needs to be here for our color alongs. Where's Lena and Sandy and Sonia? Where's all my girls at? I think Amy's out walking dogs. So she's forgiven because she actually has to work today. Okay, so you see how this is starting to take shape. 18 Celsius, woo woo. Sorry, I feel like I'm totally coloring off of the edge of the thing here, but let's see, is that a little more centered for you guys? Okay, so now I'm in my E00. And this is really just like a peachy color. And I use this to kind of really, really soften those harsh lines of my previous shadow colors. So I really, really want to soften these lines. So you'll notice I kind of use a lot of the ink of this one. I tend to be a one-layer colorist. Sometimes I will do a second layer if I feel like it's necessary. But a lot of the times I am a single layer colorist. So I try to smooth everything out as I go. So oddly quiet right now. Husband's in the shower, kids playing video games, of course. Okay, there's my E00. Notice I left a complete highlight there. Oops, wrong end. Here's my E00. And I'm just gonna take this. I do circle blend a little bit. I know really you're not supposed to circle blend, but I feel like right on the edge there where those two colors meet, and I don't really know who said you're not supposed to circle blend. It's not like the Copic police are gonna come arrest you. But I tend to circle blend just a little bit just to get those colors to marry a little. Okay, now I leave the cap of my E000 off and I grab my R20. I feel like she needs a little bit of color to her cheeks, so I just swipe in some color with my R20. Real light. There's a myriad of colors that you can use for this, but I just like to use R20. And then I go back to my E000 and I blend out the edge of that. Where's Jasmine too? I wonder where Jasmine is. Faith, you gotta talk. Why are you not talking? All right, so now she has pink cheeks. Okay. Now we're gonna get into the fun part. You guys ready? Maybe I need to soften that just a little bit more. There we go. All right, so I wanna do some non-traditional colors on her. So I think that we're going to pick some other colors for her. I'm thinking maybe we should make her like Christmassy, right? I think, oh, good morning, Dolores. How are you? I'm thinking of almost making her Christmassy. What do you guys think? We should do some reds and greens? Or should we go more traditional? Or what should we do? What should we do with this crazy Alice? What do you guys feel like? Bueller? Bueller? Yep, what? Yep, what, Faith? Hello, Dolores. What color should we do for her dress? Oh, you know what? I should probably finish her skin. I just realized I did not do her arms at all. Look at me getting all excited to do all these pleats and not actually coloring her arms. She probably would like to have her arms colored. So while I color her arms, why don't you guys decide on a color for her dress? Christmas, reds and greens? Everybody good with that? All right, we can do that. I think that could be fun. Something a little different, right? Christmas in Wonderland. I'm sure they have Christmas there. Why not? Be one heck of a tea party, right? Christmas tea with the Mad Hatter and the Cheshire Cat. That would be quite the undertaking, wouldn't it? Faith, it can't be almost nap time. You have to watch me color. Am I that boring that you need to fall asleep? Yeah, ding dong red dress. You want the dress to be red and not green? I was thinking of doing the dress green. I'll do a red dress though. I like doing red. A lot of colorists shy away from red, and I'm not 100% sure why. They say that reds are the most difficult. I really enjoy working with red. I like how bright and vibrant it is. It makes me happy. I should do a Christmas scene in the background. Oh, you've confused me with Amy. You think that I can draw. Oh, Faith, you have so much faith in me. Probably more faith than I have in myself. Much more confidence than I have in myself. I keep on thinking that I should go back to school and get an art degree now that I, Ooh, yes, definitely. Red dress, let's do this. All right, now that I did her arms, and remember, yeah, chronic fatigue sucks, I know. Okay, so let's go. You guys want to do red dress? Let's do red dress. I'm all about it. Okay, so I tend to pick up my hex chart, and actually let me pull it out of this sleeve. I love my hex chart because it shows me what, where I should go with this. So I'm going to go deep dark red. I'm going to go R89 for my shadows. Then I like to jump to R29. R29 is probably one of my favorite Copic markers of all time. I want to stay sort of true red, so I'm going to go R27. And do I want to go orangey or pinky? Which direction do I want to go with this? So I think I'm going to go R17. I usually choose blends of 5 markers. And then for my highlight, I want something really quite bright. So I think I'm going to go that's pretty redundant. So I think I'm going to go into R. I sound like a pirate. R. I think I'm going to go R17 to R. Let's just go R14. Yeah, let's do R14. Ginger! Hey, Ginger, how are you, girl? I miss you. I haven't talked to you in a long time. All right, so you guys ready to color some pleats? Let's do this. Again, I take both caps off so that I have lots of control over the ink flow. And we're gonna look at this like the sun is shining from this direction, okay? So the sun's shining this way. I am going to start coloring these pleats. I tend to pick a spot kind of midway in the dress so that I don't like overwhelm myself coloring it all at once. So I'm going to use this midline and I'm going to say, and again, I rotate my paper a ton. So hopefully that's fine, then I can leave that there. Okay, so I'm going to find where this shadow would be and I'm going to shadow in where the dress pleat, I guess. That's the best way to put it. Now, I'm not just going over the artist drawn lines. I'm actually, I'm using her lines as a guide. Annie is spectacular at drawing these pleats in and kind of really giving you a guide on where to go with them. But I'm looking like if this is highlight and the sun is shining off of this section right here, this part would be a shadow. Also, see how this kind of pops up here? This part would be a shadow. And really all it is to coloring pleats is really just dissecting it and looking where you think those shadows would hit, okay? So that's why I end up turning my paper so much back and forth when I'm coloring pleats. I'm sorry, I have to move those. Back and forth when I'm coloring pleats so that I can figure out where it is my shadows are gonna go and, you know, what I want them to come out to be. And like I said, coloring pleats is like my favorite. I used to be really, really terrified of coloring them. And then one day I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it. And when I realized that the Copic police were not gonna come get me and that Annie wasn't gonna withhold her images from me for making a mistake, I kind of got this confidence in it and went, you know what, I really can do this. So I just started thinking to myself, you know, where I am. Ooh, Ginger, going to get your hair colored. That sounds like fun. So I just started really trying to dissect them and think to myself, you know, where would the sun hit and what part of this would be in shadow? And when I did that, I really, really started to understand the pleats, and that's where I started to get that kind of 3D feeling about it. And coloring the pleats sort of became cathartic for me. I really, really love doing it. But if you're going to learn to color pleats, I strongly suggest Moonlit Whispers images because, like I said, Annie is absolutely fantastic at giving you everything you need to really, really color in these pleats. It's amazing. Okay, I'm also gonna do the underneath side of the dress. Actually, no, let's just use that for right now, okay? So now we're gonna move into our R29. It isn't just all the dark lines, and you can just start with the dark lines and kind of go from there with it. You'll see how like some of these, see how I curved around and made them thicker and stuff, just to create a little bit more of a 3D effect. So it's not totally just all the dark lines, if that makes any sense. You know me, Faith. You know I often don't make any sense at all. And you can see how this red is considerably different from the darker red that I started with. Because that shadow is like truly a stark shadow, like a dark, dark shadow. So I want to leave that shadow very pronounced. Then once you get your layout going, it's just a matter of being consistent with your layout. So you're not changing the direction of your shadows. Copic 305 and I'm still in pre-Copic. Oh my goodness, that's so funny. It's the prerequisite. You're taking prerequisite classes, Faith. Really? You just have to go at it with reckless abandon. I mean, I hate to be that way, but you kind of have to go at it with reckless abandon. All right. Now we're into R27. Now you'll notice that I start to kind of fill in both sides with this, because if it's, so say the dress is like this pin, if it's going like this, right, because of the pleat in it, it's going like this. So this part is closest to the sun. This part's away from the sun, and this part's away from the sun. So, hugs. Thanks, Dolores. Everyone has a starting point. That's right. I did too, Faith. I was right there. And I was totally where you're at. And the only difference between you and me is that I was able to sit at my desk and invest many, many hours into practicing. And so it's all familiarity. And I've said this before, it's all familiarity with your medium. So whether you're coloring in Copics, whether you're coloring with watercolors or pencils or whatever it is that you're coloring with, it becomes an exercise in familiarity with your medium. I've seen people that can take just a regular graphite pencil and do incredible things with their coloring. And it almost makes you think that they used color and all they used was a graphite pencil. And that's pretty incredible. I can't do that. I know, it's just you and me, Faith, right now. But people will watch the replay, I'm sure, or I hope they will. R17. I will be in my own home very soon, full time. Well, that will be awesome. Then you'll have lots of time to color. And you just have to be willing to throw stuff in the bin. I mean, not everything that you color is going to come out perfectly. And you're going to have to just stamp stuff out and realize that, you know, you're practicing. And so if you stamp it to practice with, then you're practicing. And if it gets all messed up and it totally stinks, toss it in the bin and start over. You definitely learn a lot that way. I did, at least. Of just being willing to go, okay, well, that didn't work. Let's try something else. That's R17. And now into our highlight color of the R14. Okay. And I'm just filling in that whole highlight, and I'm dragging that highlight out. And just marrying those colors. There you go. Okay? Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah. Yakety schmackety. All right. All right, so we're just gonna keep dissecting this dress down. And I like to continue doing piece by piece. So I'm gonna work on the underside of this skirt here. And I tend to make the underside a little bit darker because it's the opposite side of the material. I wonder where everybody is this morning. Faith, did you share this? Perhaps? Maybe there's some people on from the Awesome Monthly Swap group. Slow and steady, that's right. You are correct. It's not an overnight learned thing. It's definitely takes time and practice. And like I said, just being willing to make mistakes. Because I made my share of mistakes, that's for sure. I mean, I'd love to tell you that I just picked up Copics and was able to just color with them, but that would be a big bold-faced lie, because that's not how it happened at all. I do always say it's all Lena's fault, because she's the reason I picked up Copics to begin with. She first got me started with Spectrum Noir markers. And, I could have lived without them. It's like, whatever. They're not that great. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Maybe they don't like me. That's very true. That very well could be. So I picked up Spectrum Noir markers and started coloring with those, and I was like, they're all right, but they're not. I could get really, really smooth blends in the clothing when I use Spectrum Noir markers, but they have that bullet nib, and so they're kind of hard to work with, like for hair and skin and stuff, because they're so bulky. And so she told me to get a couple of Copic markers, and I started off with just a skin blend. Actually, no, I didn't. I started with a hair blend. And once I was using the hair blend, I became hooked. That's right, you did. I remember. I did the same thing. I used all the proceeds from my Spectrum Noirs to buy Copics. And I'm sure glad that I did. So you see, once you lay out where your colors are gonna go, once you lay out where your shadows are gonna go, it makes coloring everything else a lot easier, because then you're just blending. and you're not necessarily having to really think about what you're doing with the other colors too much. So it's a lot easier once you lay out that shadow to get those other colors where they need to be. You're up to 51 Copics. You go, girl. That's awesome. I remember when I was at 51 Copics. I was doing a lot of like tip-to-tip blending to be able to bridge the gaps in the Copics that I had. Ooh, Faith, who is, oh, Aurora. Who's Andrew and Aurora? Are these coloring friends? Hopefully my heater isn't too loud, but I have to turn on my heater because my door's closed and it's really cold in here. It's like super duper cold in here for some reason. All right. Okay, so we have half of her dress done-ish, sort of. Oh, friends from swaps. Sweet. Awesome. All right, so now with this first half of the dress done, we're gonna go back to our R89 and we're gonna start going we're gonna start, sorry, I'm tagging people too. See if I can get people on. We're gonna start with this part of our dress. So, here we go. I wonder if I put this like, I guess you can see that there, hopefully. Again, I'm turning my paper upside down and I'm gonna try to not get my big fat head in there. Okay, and this is shadow. Okay, now I'm going to make this one go to the end of her skirt down here. And I'm going to pull the shadow behind it. And see how I pulled kind of a thick shadow because I want that part to really drop back. And Sean, there you are. You're at work? Ah, oh, that's such a bummer. I mean, like, it's good that you have a job and everything, but are you on a break? Are you just coming on because I've tagged you like 6 times? All the questions! All right. So again, I'm just, trying to think about where the sun would hit, what ridges are up and what ridges are back. I'm making darker where I want to fall back from the sun. This is obviously a really dark, like extreme shadow color. And this part on her bum is going to fall back. This is going to be in shadow because of her arm. And this little piece underneath here is going to be in shadow. I always say I'm really strange because I even tend to add some pleats to Annie's images. I know, with all the pleats that she already adds. I totally even add extra because I'm crazy like that. And this is the underside of this, so it's going to be dark. And there we go. All right. Hopefully you guys, you gotta tell me if I'm outside of the screen. Grandson calling. All right. Now I'm all alone. Just talking to myself. Coloring Alice. All right, so I'm gonna go through here, try to pay attention again to where my shadows are so that I can really make this pop. So just because I colored those dark lines doesn't necessarily mean that they're all gonna have this brighter marker on the same side of them. Depends on how they're folding to and away from the sun. And red tends to get like a little, it likes to bleed on you. So if you have a little bleed, like I have a tiny little bleed down here, a little blowout, I use my colorless blender and I just kind of push that back up into the line. It's not a foolproof way because red tends to leave a pink haze, but it's good enough for me. Nobody will notice it, especially if we end up coloring a background on this. All right, so I think both sides of this are gonna be this brighter red because this part's gonna go down in. And I'm gonna leave that. And this part, just like that. And then I did color the underside of this skirt here, so I'm gonna go ahead and shade that part in. There we go. Awesome. Now I'm moving on to R27. Somewhere like that so you can see it. And just continue to shade. Try to make nice, smooth transitions between your colors. Good. And no matter how many times you color this, you're never, ever, ever gonna shade it the same way twice. I bet. I have colored this. This is the third or fourth time I've colored this image now. And I don't think that any time that I've colored it that I've shaded it the same way. It's just always gonna be different. And that's okay. Some of it probably has to do with the fact that I don't have an art degree, so I'm not super wonderful at color theory or at lighting, but I do what I can. And nobody says it has to be perfect. It's markers, it's paper, and really coloring is all about relaxing and enjoying, and I use coloring to just kind of think. I listen to a lot of like audiobooks and stuff when I color. You know, it's just kind of my vacation. So Margarita has me stuck on a Netflix series that we're gonna call it watching, even though I'm not really watching it because I'm coloring, but I'm listening to it, so that counts, right? It's How to Make a Murderer, or Making a Murderer, or something like that. So yeah, I'm listening to that while I color a lot. So there's her dress. Her dress is colored, and oops, I just noticed I forgot a little tiny piece back here behind her legs. There we go. Angela, hello, how are you, girl? Coloring by myself here for a while because everybody had to leave. So we're coloring Alice here, and we decided that we're gonna like give her kind of a Christmas twist. So we are working on that. So I'm going to go back to my darkest color, this R89, to color the bodice part of her dress. I'm going to leave the trim, I'm going to leave the trim white because we're going to color that in the accent color. So probably some shade of green. And since this is away from our light source, we're going to keep doing that. All right, and then this is all in shadow, most likely, because her sash will leave a little bit of a shadow there. And then I like to add a little bit of movement in this. So I kind of add a couple of wrinkles or pleats or whatever it is you'd like to call it on the side there. Angela, what are you up to today, girl? Since we're coloring Alice in Christmas, does anybody have their Christmas trees up yet? I keep on thinking I'm gonna put mine up, but maybe I'll wait till after Thanksgiving. It's the proper time to put it up. At least I think it's the proper time to put it up. There's been many, many times that I've put it up much, much earlier than that. One year I put it up the day after Halloween, so, you know, that's a thing. But I don't also just have one Christmas tree. I have 4 or 5 that I put up. And I'm just stepping through the colors. No tree yet, Rihanna? I used to, my husband's birthday is December 17th, and so I used to not put it up until after his birthday. Sherry, hello, my dear. How are you? All right. So there's that. There's her dress. I think maybe she'll, should she have red gloves too? Oh. don't know if she should have red gloves too. Maybe we'll make that determination later. All right, so now let's go for her puffs and her sash, okay? So I'm gonna pull out my hex chart again. We're gonna look at the greens down here. Do we wanna go more of like a lime green? Do we wanna do like an olive green or like a true Christmas green? What do you guys think? Rihanna, Sherry? What would you guys like to do? Lime, girl after my own heart. Love that. Okay, so when we go with lime, I like to start actually fairly dark so that we have a good contrast. So I think I'm gonna go like YG67. YG67, some mossy kind of color. Then we're gonna jump up and we're gonna go YG09. YG09, there it is. And I like to pop into like YG07. Notice I jump really big on these ones because to do a limey green, you really have to sort of pop, jump colors to get them really where you want them to be. And then my highlight, I'm gonna go, where do I want to go? Do I want to, YG67 is this one. Do I want to add a darker one? I think I am. I'm gonna add a darker, so G28 as my shadow. And then when I pop back up here for my highlight, I'm gonna go with YG23, a nice yellowy highlight to really sell that lime color. If I can find my YG, oh, there it is. All right, hanging in there. Sarah was gluing an envelope, dealing with for more therapy, starting therapy on my knee and trying to get insurance early MRI and ultrasound. Oh, girl, man, you're my hero. You're always so positive, and I just adore the heck out of you. I send you so many good vibes and healing thoughts and whatever else I can send to you. Man, you're such a fighter. You're such an inspiration, girl. All right, so here's our limey green scenario, okay? All right, here we go. So I'm gonna start with this G28 in my shadows, and just sort of like I did with the dress, I'm gonna try to pay attention to what would be away from the sun. Ooh, this marker is juicy, so I need to, what would be kind of away from the sun and what would be in shadow, and where those shadows would fall. And I use that gray line as my guide, and I put the gray into the darkest part. Praying is the best thing you can do to help others. It's so true. All right. There's a little bit of a right there. Now her sleeve is going to leave a shadow on the trim here. So a little shadow here. A little shadow into her cleavage there. And then we have some trim up here. Katya, hello. Good I'm gonna say afternoon, because I feel like it's probably afternoon for pretty much everybody now. It's only 11 o'clock here, but we're gonna go with afternoon, right? I'm also going to put some shadows into her sash here. And then this big bow, obviously, behind her is tied from that sash. And I know that her arm would leave a shadow on that. So we're just going to go ahead and shadow that in, just like that. It is still morning for you? Oh yeah, are you in California? I think you're in California. Can't remember where everybody's at. All right, so now we're gonna step into our YG67. I'm just gonna elongate those shadows a little bit more. You guys notice that I'm not taking quite as much time on these shadows. Once I lay in that first shadow, that's kind of like where all of my thought goes. All of my thinking work goes in on that. And so the rest of it, I can just kind of, I don't have to think as much about it, I guess is what I'm getting at. I can just kind of trace over where I shadowed in already. And I'm working on blending those colors out nice and smooth, so it doesn't require quite as much thought. I'm still thinking about the sun, or the light, as it were, and which direction that light would be coming from. And I'm still just shadowing on that side. But I think we're gonna end up making this like a two-part color along. And we're gonna come back and finish her up and do more with her, maybe even get into a background, because I think you guys would like that. Okay. Veronica, hello. I haven't seen you in a long time. Katya, where are you at in California? Are you affected by all these crazy fires in Paradise and stuff, or are you north or south of there? I really like this YG09 and how it's bringing that kind of limey feel into this Christmas green kind of shadow area that I've created. It's really brightening things up. And you guys know I like to color in very bold, bright colors. I'm not a soft colorist. I like bright. So YG07. And then my highlight YG23. I'm just going to go into the brightest parts of this. And I'm kind of oversaturating it a little bit because I want this to feel soft. I want this to feel kind of velvety, this green. So when you oversaturate it, it makes it kind of a soft feel to it. You don't want to oversaturate too much, obviously, because that will cause, kind of white spots in it, but there we go. Yeah, bold, bright colors are absolutely my favorite. I am such a sucker for like the bold, bold, bright. I feel like her earrings should be totally red. So that's going to happen. There we go. She would totally wear red earrings, right? Right. Okay. So I'm thinking that her stockings are going to be like green and white striped. So I'm going to use this green that I already have out here, but I'm going to I'm going to switch it up a little bit, okay? So I'm going to skip, because this is such a small area to color in, I'm going to skip some of my colors. So this YG67, I'm going to use for my shadow. And I'm just going to come in off of either side of her leg, obviously because her legs are round. So they're, and I'm just, oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought totally. Anyways, so I'm just going to color the outsides of her stocking. And I'm just going to try to do it nice and thin so that we can get all of the colors in there. There we go. Now I'm going to skip to YG07. I just realized it's Christmassy colors. Yeah, we decided to do Christmassy colors. I think it was Rihanna's decision. I think Rihanna decided to do Christmassy colors. I suggested it and she was like, yeah, let's go for it. So we went for it. I mean, you know, why not? This could either be Christmassy colors or this could be like Cinco de Mayo colors. What other flags are red and white and green? I can't think. And I got some in the white part, so I'm just going to use my colorless blender to kind of push that color out of the white spots. Okay, so I feel like in true to Alice form, we need to have black stockings, black stripes on her stockings. So I'm going to use like a warm black for both her stockings and her shoes. So I'm going with 110 and W7 and W3, okay? So 110, again, I'm just going to go with the darkest parts here. So where her legs overlap and where her legs curve away from the sun. And I'm actually going to rotate this. To give it just a little bit more dimension. You can tell when I'm really concentrating, huh? There. I'm on the W7, and it's just like a dark gray. It's a warm dark gray. And then I'm on to W3 for the highlight. All right, so there's her green and black striped socks. And I'm going to use these same colors for her shoes. So I'm going to go back to my 110 and I'm going to just kind of outline where the shadows would be on her shoes. And then we're going to go into our W7. We're going to continue with those shadows. She's not going to have Louboutins like the Queen of Hearts did. I was wondering if anybody would notice that, and Margarita noticed it like right off the bat. The Queen of Hearts, I colored the soles of her shoes are bright red like Louboutins. Because I figured the Queen of Hearts, like, you know, she's pretty trendy that way. She needs to have. Actually, I think this W3 is a little bit light. I'm going to grab my W5 instead. So that, oops. Yeah, there we go. That's better. All right. So now she has shoes. Okay. So we have a good start, right? What do you guys say we take a little break, because we've been at it for just over an hour now. So let's take a little break. I gotta stretch my back out because my back's starting to get really sore. So let's take a little break, and I'll come back in just a couple of hours, and we will pick up where we left off. We'll do her hair, we'll do the cat, and we'll make some sort of little Christmas scene behind her. So that, oh, you guys probably want her in the frame, huh? So we'll make some sort of Christmas scene behind her, and you know, get her all ready for a Christmas card. What do you say? So I just so you guys know, I try to color up here because I know that if you're on your mobile devices and stuff, that all of the comments are underneath. So yeah, you can catch up on this video, Katya, and then yeah, we'll come back and we'll color up her hair. So be thinking about what hair color you want for her. And then the Cheshire Cat, I feel like he's not going to be purple and pink. I feel like he's going to be Christmassy. So maybe we're going to change the Cheshire Cat up a little bit and make him Christmassy as well. And so I'll see you back here in just a couple of hours. I'm going to go get more coffee in my system and stretch my back. and then I'll meet you guys all back here and we'll do part 2. Okay. So thank you so much for joining me this morning, and I will check you all later. Have a great day, and I'll meet you back here. Let's see, it's 11 o'clock here. So it'll probably be like 2 o'clock ish, you know, after lunch and everything for us. So Katya, that's 1 o'clock for you. So, anyways, thanks, Sherry. I will see you later. Can't wait to hang out with you guys all for another hour or two while we finish this bad boy up. Also, right now, the bundle sets are still on sale. So if you have not picked up this bundle of the 3 Alice in Wonderland images that Moonlit Whispers has just released, it's moonlitwhispers.etsy.com. So here is, this is We're All a Little Mad Here. And this is Off with Their Heads. And this is Curiouser and Curiouser. And so these are all still on sale as the bundle deal right now. They probably won't be on sale when I come back to you guys this afternoon. So if you want to catch that bundle deal, totally get them right now while they are on sale. If not, they'll all be for sale individually, and they're only $5 a piece. So, I mean, really. It's moonlitwhispers.etsy.com. And just so you guys know, Etsy does charge tax depending on where you're at. So like Katya's tax is going to be different than mine because she's in California and I'm in Idaho. So it does charge tax depending on where you're at because it's it's the law. They have to charge tax. So you may have a little bit different pricing depending on where you're at, but the images themselves are only $5 a piece unless you're getting that bundle deal. And I believe it's $13 for the bundle deal right now. And so anyways, I'll check you guys all later. I'll be back in just a couple of hours. Have a great day. Bye.